Hello.
Hi.
My name is Alexander Thomas.
Hi, I'm Jose.
Jose?
I'm Nicole. And Anita. Hi, I'm Lily.
Great.
Have a seat, please.
Thanks. Okay. Come on. Resume. Right? Resume. Resume.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Yes, always.
Okay, so
So, Mr. Thomas, you could start by telling us about yourself. Like, what about yourself?
oh, you want to know a little about me? I see. Okay. I graduated from university. I've been working in corporate fields before, right? I've done a lot of businesses before, but mostly in the technical support positions, right? So now I decided to come back and just do an electrical course just to see what is on the motherboard and everything else. But that's just a brief, right? I don't want to get into too much details, but everything is on the resume. But however, after I finished high school, I went strictly into the university. I did my first degree, master's in computer science. Second degree was master's in psychology, right? Then from there I came to Toronto after I graduated. Then from there I went into a corporation called Crown Tech Business Centers, where I learned most of the skills on computers and things like that, meaning peripherals and so forth, right? So I was basically what they call the R&D tech, RNAs, right? Warranty tech. So from there, basically when our company shut down, I moved to City Hall, City of Toronto, right? Where I became the supervisor manager for the accounts payable department, and also for the programmers for Toronto, the what they call the audit accounts payable. But basically I was in charge of all the two twin towers in City Hall, downtown, right? Okay, so in a sense, I ran everything else, right? Such as like if any IBM computers go down, etc., it was my responsibility to make sure it's up and running for the council itself, but also all of the City Hall, including programmers and things like that. So from there, I basically went to another company, which I finished my contract. I did there a while. I got all my experience and so forth. So in that particular position, it basically gives me what you call kicks. I was running something called an AS400 mainframe, right? Where I had to do backups and things like that. What you call end of queue jobs at night. So I know this is a little different position than what I'm giving you, but I'm showing you the background that I have that I can do this. This is no issue to me. So the second position I went to is a company called Caswell Thompson Publishing, right? And in this is basically dealing with the lawyers, right, of Canada. So we had a central office, which basically is on 401 and 401 and Kennedy. So I was head office. I was working on the 10th floor. I was technical support there. So basically, when we doing what they call a monthly run, a month run of what they call sending out a particular disk, which is called using Folio. It's a little bit different database, right? But in that, what we had to do was to also test it and then send it up to research and development again, right? So we're dealing with we're dealing about $50,000 for a CD, right? So we have to know what we're doing. So basically, in a sense, once the lawyers or the secretary calls us, we have to know inside out what to do. So yeah, I did incorporate there. And then from there, after I moved on, I went and did my own company, which is called Advanced Technologies. And I'm associate pastor on that side. So I basically do two things there. I also do like building the computers for the children or whoever they want, right, for the staff and things like that. But at the same time, I'm an associate pastor with a psychology background, so I basically do behavior counseling and family counseling and so forth and so forth. So the reason why I'm applying for this job is because since I'm here, I want to see the environment to work in. What's the difference between working in a large corporation with team members and things like that? Because usually when I was working in that environment, you had a time schedule where the manager requires or the director requires certain things to be done on a punctual time. So like I said, that's why I quoted to you Caswell Thompson Publishing, where I was technical, but I was dealing with 3 members in my staff, right? So we had to make sure that we finish on time. So yeah, now to your questions now. let me answer the questions before you get ahead of the answer. Do you have a question?
Okay, so what qualities do you have that makes you suitable for this job?
As you can see, right? Um, Qualities are very, very simple, right? You have to know how to get along with people, right? How to react and network with them. If there's a problem, you have to be able to resolve it, right? That's called conflict resolution, of course, right? Which means, for example, since I've been working in large also small corporations, but also in the ministry itself, it gives me a broad range of everything else, right? Meaning how, if a person has a problem, how can I solve that problem? If I can't solve it, naturally I will go to the next level, right, to my minister himself, or the manager or director. That's what I will do. So, the strengths that I have, and the strengths that I have is I can work with any sort of environment, plus any sort of people that I can get along with, right? Because since I worked in the left, and with large corporations, with like over 50 people working in a team together to try and bring it together, or in one-on-one by myself. I can do that. That's very easy for me.
Okay, so as I can see from your resume, you have a lot of experience in your field, out of field, that doesn't matter. So can I know one example? Like you obviously do work in team with the team members. So can I have the one example where you get the conflicts within the team member and how do you resolve it?
Yeah, okay, so now if you want a really up-to-date one, right, I can deal with the last job, right? Well, it's not a last job, I'm still with the job, right? But it's pending. I took a 2-year off, what they call a sabbatical, just to make sure that I come and do a senator challenge program, right? Okay, so remember now I'm dealing with my minister above me, right? So if, for example, in that particular job, we needed to do what they call, since he's also the musician, he's the head of the musician department, right? And all his sons are in the group and so forth. Okay, the question comes down to how can I make sure that I get the computer networking running for him on time? Because when we do all our schedulings and everything else for concerts and so forth, what happens is that if the computer goes down, our scheduling goes down. So remember, usually the churches and so forth have a Saturday or Sunday schedule, right? So this computer system went down on a Friday. So guess who I had to do? They called me in, right? So okay, Alex, just what do we do? Because we need to up and running to do all the scheduling. Not only scheduling, make sure that we send out the emails and everything else and so forth, right? So it was my job to make sure it was up and running. So what I did was that I said, okay, well that's fine. I can't do it completed by the end of the afternoon, but what I can do is I can make sure that I come in after dinner and do it on my own, right? To make sure it's on my, because the thing is that the responsibility is mine, okay? Yes, it's after work, which means it's not within our schedule, but however, it was my position that since I am the one that's responsible for everything else, it's not according to the ethics and the code of the company. But remember, we're dealing with people. And the end result is that if you make them happy, you're okay, but not going against the company, okay? So it was my position that, remember, I always ask my minister, my director, said, is it possible that I can come in and do it? And the question was, sure, go ahead. If we can get this done so that the Saturdays and Sundays will be running fine, be okay. So he allowed me to do that, but of course I needed that in writing. See, I didn't want to come back and say I did it and not get any recognition for it, but if something happens while I'm inside, what is going to happen, I'm going to get a problem, right? So I made sure I have it in writing to do this. And that's how I solved that one. Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay, so you are working in a team. Suppose your company has a project and give you project one day. You have to complete that project in one day, and the company gives you team members. Suppose one team member has is a racist. He has a problem, religious problem. He can.
Religious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Okay. So he cannot work the people from other religions. He's a racist. Like, how are you gonna deal with that?
Well, the first thing I would do, right, since he's sort of can't work with other people, and the thing is, I need to specifically speak to my supervisor or the one in charge or the manager and things like that. before I can make any other move, because I can't do anything about it because it's within my job description that I can do this, right? However, when it comes to team and it needs to be done at a particular time and whatever, I do need help. If you're saying that that's the question, right? That if he's not there, then I have to have a second team member or third or whatever the case may be. So what I would do in that situation is make sure that I get permission or give all the details of what the supervisor will allow me to do. If everything is set and everything is geared towards, okay, fine, we can have somebody else or whatever, then I would say, that's okay, then I can finish it off in time. However, if he said, no, you'll have to do it by your own, then I would have to say, can I have an extension on that because it's one person doing a two-man job. So we'll try to see if I can somehow work at it, but I can't go beyond, let's assume that our schedule is at 5 o'clock. Remember, that's not within hours, right? So I would basically ask again, if I am doing this by myself, am I going to get overtime? Or how does that work now with going after hours? And that's how it's going to be done, because I need permission from the company, not myself. Any other?
So here you explain all about the problems that you're resolving.
Sure.
So I just want to know about, is there any instant that where you fail as a leader, or if you're getting failed in a situation?
Wait, I don't understand. Say it
That
again.
means
So,
instance where you fail as a leader, or
as a team member?
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Right, now, I'll give you an example of my Caswell Thompson Publishing Company, right? Okay, now, there's a gender that we need to put out the CDs at 6-month individuals. Interims, right? Okay, so now, our team were 4 members, technical support, and then we had secretaries working on the other side.